Okay, hello again. This is the third part of our very first Cardano starter kit. In this part of the starter kit, you're going to have the opportunity to take work that we've already done together and make it your own by improving upon it. In the first part of this starter kit, I gave you a very brief overview of GitHub. In the second part, we took our initial look at the Marlowe Playground. In this part, we're going to grab the work we've done so far and try to make it better. Because so far we have a bad bet contract. We have a contract that, as long as two people trust each other and always agree on outcomes of what happened out in the world, that contract will work well enough. But the contract doesn't yet handle the case where the two parties disagree on an outcome. And for now, if people disagree, their funds are locked up. That's not what we want. We need to be able to handle situations where maybe two parties disagree. And we want to build that logic into our contract. So that's what we're going to do now. Now, if you've been following along from the beginning, you might have this question: why GitHub? Why are we using GitHub to share this work? Well, the thing to recognize is that GitHub is a social network. It's a social network for developers, people who are learning development, and for experts who are collaborating on projects together. On GitHub, you can view the work of other people. You can grab it for yourself and make changes to it. And if you've added value to a project, you can share those changes back with the original author of the work. We're going to do that now, all right? But just, again, to this question of why GitHub, it's because it facilitates collaboration. Writing programs is big work, and it's hard to do alone. It's good to have collaborators. When you get stuck, it's good to have a chance to learn from other folks. And when you do something great, I hope you're like me and you want to share that, okay? So that's what we're going to have the opportunity to do now on this developer collaboration platform and social network called GitHub. All right, so here I am on my home screen. There's not much here because I'm pretty new to GitHub. But I can go to the top and I can search for a user. Once again, like last time, I want to search for the user workshop-maybe. I see all these results over on the left-hand side, but I know that I want to find the user. There's workshop maybe there. And what you should see is a repository called SK001 Marlowe badbet. You could also look at the entire list of repositories if that one's not showing up at the top of the page. Let's click in and take a look at this program. Like before, there's a README file with some instructions here. Here's the Marlowe simulation website that we're going to be able to go to. That's the playground that we were at before. And here's our badbet file. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this file and open it up in the Marlowe Playground and see what we can do with it. All right, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up badbet.txt. This is once again saved as a text file, even though the code you see here is Marlowe, okay? Later on, we're going to look at some Haskell files that have embedded Marlowe inside them, and those will be saved as .hs, Haskell files, okay? But for now, we're just saving this as a text file. This is the code from the simulator over at the Marlowe Playground. And if just a dirty old cut and paste job here. So I'm going to highlight all the text of this file from top to bottom. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to head over to the Marlowe Playground, and in the simulation tab, notice it's empty right now, I'm going to paste that code. Now, if I click on this little icon up here in the top right, it says send contract to Blockly. That's what I'm going to do. And when I click on this button, this brings me back to the contract that we wrote in the previous part of this starter kit. It's all here. Okay. So although there's no save functionality yet in the Marlowe Playground, if you save your code somewhere like GitHub or elsewhere, you can then copy that code back to the simulator, and you can click this button to view it in Blockly. From here, we can revise this code and solve some problems. What problem are we solving right now? Well, we're solving this problem. I can click on logs over here to see the record of what's going to happen. I can have each player make their deposit to the bet. So far, so good. But then, if the two players disagree, remember, the contract closes and pays the bet contract. The money is locked up in this transaction and essentially lost to these two players. That's unacceptable, and we have to fix that. There's a few different ways to think about this, but that's what I'm going to leave to you. How would you deal with this? How would you work around this situation of disagreement? What I recommend, if you're looking to dive into this project right now, is try to write it on paper first. After each bet is submitted, and after each player submits their outcome, what do we need to check for next? And what do we do if those conditions are not met? All right, that's your project. Change this file right here. Change the Blockly code so that the funds are not lost if the two players disagree on the outcome. I'm so excited for you to give this a try. Good luck, and just know that in the final part of this starter kit, I will share some solutions with you. There's a variety of them, all right? But I really encourage you to take a look at this on your own for now. Good luck. Now, when you're done making these changes, please feel free to share them back with me over here at Workshop Maybe. This gives you the chance to practice using GitHub and also to find other people who are working through this starter kit and to talk about your solutions. You can tell me what you did, and I'll make sure to take the solutions I receive and share them here as different versions of solutions here. So let's just take a quick look at how you would go about doing that in GitHub. So we already grabbed the text here, cut and pasted it to the Marlowe Playground. Let's just say I make a really simple change. Let's just say I only change the amount of the bet, right? This is not changing the real functionality of the contract. It's just changing the amount of ADA that each player is betting. So let's change those 15s to 20s, okay? Let's then send that to the simulator. Oops, I got to reset what was already there. Let's do that. Let's send it to the simulator. Notice that now we're depositing 20 ADA. That's fine. And now I can select all of this code here, and I can copy it so that I can bring it back over to GitHub. What I'm going to do is, remember, I'm over here on the Workshop Maybe repository. When I try to edit this file, notice that the edit button says fork this project and edit the file. So when I click this button, it creates a fork that now exists in my personal GitHub account. This is what you'll see in yours as well. And all I'm going to do is select all of this text right here, all of this code, and I'm going to paste the revised code that I just produced over there in the Blockly editor. Now, there weren't many changes. What did I do? All I did was I changed, remember I used the present tense because all I'm doing is proposing these changes. I changed the bet amount from 15 to 20. All right, propose that change. When I look down at this file, I can see those are the only changes here. 2 additions, 2 deletions. Remove this line that says constant 15. Replace it with a line that says constant 20. No big deal. It says I should be able to merge this back to the original. So at this point, I could create that pull request. I could say from James D. Yeah, that comment looks good. Okay. Now, when you submit your changes via this same method, you're probably going to be changing a lot more than just the bet amount. So feel free to just note all of those things here. What did you do? What did you add to this contract to make it less of a bad bet and more of one that that will ensure that funds are not lost if people disagree? I create that pull request, and just like before, now I wait for the owner of the repository to choose whether or not to incorporate those changes. All right. So once again, your challenge is to revise this file right here. Don't worry about changing those numbers. We can leave those at 15, but revise this file so that if the 2 players disagree, the funds are not lost. All right. Have fun with this. Reach out if you have questions. And when you're done, or if you really get stuck, be sure to check out the last video in this starter kit where I'll talk through some potential solutions. Thanks for spending time here, and have a good time.